With every breath, deeper with every thought. As I said, if you begin to fall out of your chair, you will have enough control to do it carefully. You will not hurt yourself. This bodes well.
The way he was falling out of his chair, I could just see he was going to be great. I could just tell he was going to be a great candidate. And he was. He was fantastic. He was, you know, he was lovable. He was fun. He was so into it. He went so deep that the suggestions really hit home with him, and he responded so naturally, so completely, that he was the star of the show. He really was. He was just terrific. And so afterwards, I sent everybody back, and I was grateful we've had him on stage because he did a terrific job. But then one of his buddies came up and said, "Hey, you know, my friend here's got Tourette's syndrome." Really? You know, really? He said, no, he's got these tics, and he was describing him and doing the motions that he does, the big giant motions. I said, you got to be kidding! He doesn't have Tourette's syndrome.
I was 19 years old when I first was diagnosed, and it was my mom's cousin. He asked me, "What's wrong with your neck?" I said, "Well, it hurts," so I twitch it. And he goes, "Well, have you ever heard of Tourette's syndrome?" And I said, "No." And he explained it to me, and as I was reading it, it was like, I mean, I couldn't describe how amazing it was to read about Tourette's syndrome and say, oh my gosh, this explains the terror that I've been through for 19 years.
And he brought me over, and we had a conversation, and Eric was showing those behaviors that were just, I mean, you see, how dramatic they are, and yet on stage, he didn't do it the whole time. He was on stage probably 45 minutes, and not a single time did he do any kind of a tic where I had any idea that he suffered from Tourette's syndrome, which is what made us think afterwards, hey, let's, see what we can do with the hypnosis for him.
Living with someone with Tourette's syndrome, it's very, number one, distracting, and you feel like he's always on edge.
Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that is used up in motor activity. My brain produces too much dopamine, and it's constantly firing. If it gets real bad, then I start tensing up all my muscles in my body, and I just go run or go to the gym or something. I run so fast, I run as hard as I can, till I can't feel any more dopamine surges. Tourette's syndrome is a lot more than the tics. There's a lot of behavioral issues that go along with it, like feeling stressed out and panicky and skittish and constantly feeling on the edge. People tell me "bless you" all the time because they think I'm not sneezing. It's my tic, but it sounds like a sneeze. So I can get away with it. It's socially acceptable.
The number one reason people go to hypnotists is for smoking. It's the best way in the world to quit smoking because smoking is certainly got an addictive component to it, but if it was really the chemical addiction so much, then the patch, the gum, those things would work a whole lot better than they do.
I went to Marie Beach. She's one that fixed me.
Well, when Bob came to me, he had stopped smoking before and wanted to stop again. And it was very important, it was very important that he really wanted to be done with it. They have to have that desire. It's not something they come in and they really don't want to, although there have been plenty of people who have said later, well, I really didn't think I wanted to that badly.
I loved him. I didn't want to quit. I did it for my wife, I did it for my family, I did it for me, but I was thinking about, my wife being a widow, my children not having a father. You take a look at that kid and that baby and you realize that I could have a stroke, have a heart attack, lung cancer or whatever, and that kid might not have a father. Makes you think about it. And if there's a way to stop something and it's painless and you don't have to worry about any medical procedures or whatever, why not give it a shot?
But with Bob, he began in his teens, as most smokers have.
Back in the 70s, you saw smoking everywhere. When you see that, you're curious.
the cigarette, which started them coughing and choking, and the body was saying to you, you don't really want to do this. You really don't want to. But most of us, including myself, ignored that and continued because of the emotions that we were feeling at the time.
In college, waking up in the morning and, you know, walking to class, that first cigarette was like the greatest thing in the world. And now I think about it, and it's like, what in the, I mean, I can't even stand the smell of it anymore.
Smoking fulfills a purpose. It helps you to relax. It gives you an excuse to take a break and get away from things, a little treat for yourself throughout the day. People smoke for a reason, and it's a psychological reason, and it is a subconscious habit. Well, when you want to change a habit with the subconscious mind, then hypnosis is the most direct way to do it, because you're going directly into the subconscious mind and helping people to turn around their beliefs or turn around their habits, and it's just very quick, very, very effective for quitting smoking. It's got a tremendous success rate by any study you look at.